Hello everybody, in this video I'm going to talk you through how to do a pelvic floor contraction, also known as a kegel. So if you're watching this, maybe you're struggling with some pelvic floor dysfunction, or you've had a baby or any other reasons, and you potentially need to relearn how to engage and relax your pelvic floor. What is the pelvic floor? It is a hammock of muscles, a bit like a diaphragm, that sits in our pelvis. And it connects from your pubic bone to your coccyx and all the way around the pelvis on the inside. And it supports our internal organs. Now, the pelvic floor is a muscle, and one of the things muscles need to be able to do is they need to be able to lengthen, get longer, and shorten, contract, lengthen and shorten. Our alignment and posture in everyday life can cause some dysfunction in some women, because how they hold their body in everyday life means that their pelvic floor doesn't get the chance to fully lengthen. Let me show you what I mean. So the alignment I like to encourage people is rib cage stacked over hips. Now, if say you have a slouch posture, that rib cage is no longer stacked over that pelvic floor. And one of the reasons we want this stacked position is because in the bottom of your rib cage you have your diaphragm. When you breathe in, your lungs expand, your diaphragm contracts down, and if you're in this nice stacked position, your pelvic floor will also contract down. Okay, and it's a bit like that bicep analogy I gave you. But if we're contracted, maybe we don't get that full range of motion through the pelvic floor. So when you go to practice these kegels, try to get in a stacked position, kneeling and sitting in something, or sitting on a chair, or lying down. The only difference with lying down is you won't have gravity there, which could actually make it easier for you. So if you find this quite hard, you can try it lying down. Now, with that ideal alignment, the breath enables us to get that movement through the pelvic floor, which means the breath is actually very important when it comes to doing a pelvic floor contraction. When we breathe in, our pelvic floor travels down and it lengthens, and then when we breathe out, it contracts and goes back to neutral. However, a contraction is when we come past neutral and pull the pelvic floor up. You can imagine it like this. Imagine this tissue is your pelvic floor, all those tissues. And when you breathe in, it relaxes, and as you breathe out, you can imagine all those tissues being pulled up together. Let's see if we can show you on the floor. Okay, so you're here, you breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, put the muscles down, exhale, lift them up, and they pull up from all different corners. So it's not just from one place, they all draw together, a little bit like a jellyfish. That visualization can be really helpful in understanding how to get those muscles to work. Now, how hard should this contraction be? This leads me to my next favorite analogy. So imagine you have a blueberry at the very entrance of your vagina, okay? And there is a elevator shaft, and there's the ground floor, which is where you're starting. First floor, second floor, third floor. If I was to do that on my body, here's the ground floor, first floor, second floor, third floor, up towards my belly button. Now, obviously, a blueberry is not going to travel up towards my belly button, but stay with me. On your exhale breath, I want you to imagine that you're taking that blueberry up to the first floor. And then when you breathe in, put it back down. And then what I want you to practice doing is trying to go to the second floor and to the third floor. The purpose of traveling to these different floors enables you to grade and control that pelvic floor contraction, because often people just go and they just like put it up, put it down, okay? A lot of pelvic floor dysfunction can come from weakness in the muscle, but it can also come from a lack of coordination or a lack of endurance. So we can work on many different aspects. Right now I'm just teaching you how to do it and teaching you how to grade it. To be able to pick it up to that first floor, which is quite a gentle contraction, and then you put it down. As you get up to floors 2 and 3, what you might find is that your lower abdominals, as you draw up, might engage. This is your deep core muscles, and these two work as synergists, which is why I quite like to teach the pelvic floor contraction and then move on to the TVA, because sometimes you can find as you breathe out and you lift that pelvic floor up, you'll find those deep core muscles working, okay? So what I want you to do is sit in a comfortable position, breathe in, have a go at relaxing that pelvic floor on the inhale breath, and on your exhale, pick it up. Breathe in, put it down. Make sure you put it down, otherwise it's like doing reps like this, okay? Put it all the way down, pick it up, and pay attention with how much you can pick it up and how far you can pull up, and can you put it back down. Other things that you can work towards as well is pulling it up and holding it for 10, 15, 20 seconds, putting it down. And you can do this at different intensities. Now I'm going to leave you with 2 more things. If you're having a really hard time connecting with your pelvic floor, one of the things you can do in the privacy of your own home is go wash your hands and place 1 or 2 fingers inside the entrance of your vagina and see if you can feel the pelvic floor contraction happening. It should feel like a hug and lift, not a bearing down sensation. You might also notice when you do it that maybe you can feel your rectum engaging, but you can't feel the vagina connecting as much. This is because we can have imbalances between the front and the back of our pelvic floor. If you find that your rectum does a great job of contracting, but you struggle with your vagina, one of the things you can do is a forward-leaning position. So come down onto your hands and knees like this. You can put elbows on the floor, and you're going to do the same thing you were doing. You're going to breathe in, relax that pelvic floor, and then on your exhale, lift that blueberry up. Breathe in, put it down. Exhale, lift that blueberry up. And I'm going to leave you with one last cue that can be really helpful if you struggle with that front part connecting, is think about zipping up your clit. So when you're lifting up that blueberry, zip up your clit. I think you'll find that that is actually quite a helpful cue.